Diana died tragically 22 years ago in 1997 from injuries sustained in a car crash in Paris.
Princess Diana died tragically in 1997, 22 years ago at the time of writing, from injuries sustained in a car crash in Paris. For years before her untimely death, she signed a last will and testament, which she later modified a year before passing. In these legal documents, she left her estate, worth approximately $25 million, to her two sons. Decades after her passing, Princess Diana's legacy continues to captivate the world. Today marks 25 years since she was tragically killed in the Paris crash. Yet nothing could have prepared her admirers for what was recently discovered within her private estate. Behind sealed archives and locked doors, investigators found personal letters, mysterious artifacts, and never-before-seen mementos that revealed a deeply intimate portrait of the people's princess. Among all the discoveries, one in particular stunned even the closest insiders. But what was so shocking, so deeply personal, that it shook the palace to its core? Princess Diana's grave is one such poignant and mysterious part of her legacy. Unlike many members of the Spencer family, including her father John Spencer, who are buried at St. Mary the Virgin Church in Great Brington, Diana rests far from the family vault, approximately 80 miles away. Her final resting place was not chosen lightly. Her brother, Charles Spencer, made the emotional decision to bury her at their childhood home, the Althorp Estate. Charles was deeply concerned about public safety and the overwhelming attention Diana continued to receive, even after her death. But there was another, more personal reason for this choice. He wanted her sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, to be able to visit their mother in peace, away from the public eye. In an interview with People magazine at the time, he shared, "I think it's very important for them to be there with her. It is luckily very tranquil here and they can come and go as they wish whenever they want, and that's very lovely for me to know." In his 1998 book Althorp, The Story of an English House, Charles opened up further about the decision, writing, "We all agreed that with its beauty and tranquility, this was the place for Diana to be." Her grave lies in a serene and secluded part of the estate, on a small island at the center of the ornamental oval lake. For her funeral in 1997, a temporary walkway was constructed to allow mourners to access the island. After the funeral, the path was removed to prevent uninvited visitors from approaching the grave. This move was deliberate, ensuring privacy and respect. Oval Lake itself has historical significance. Designed in the 1800s by Samuel Lige, it was built during a time when English winters were cold enough for ice skating, which was a favorite pastime of the Spencer family. Charles mentioned in a 2022 Instagram post, "It was put in because my family had a thing for ice skating." As a tribute to Diana's life, a pathway leading to the lake is now lined with 36 oak trees, each representing a year of her life. These trees were planted by various members of the royal family, including Queen Elizabeth II, the Queen Mother, King Charles, Princes William and Harry, and members of Diana's own family. Though the grave itself remains closed to the public, those wishing to pay tribute to Diana can do so at a beautiful memorial on the Althorp grounds. In July 1998, a special monument known as the Temple was unveiled. This elegant, Grecian-style structure was originally purchased in the 1880s by John, the 5th Earl Spencer, for just £3. Today, it bears Diana's name and stands as a powerful tribute to her enduring legacy. Inside the temple are 2 stone tablets commemorating the late princess. One features a quote from Diana herself, "Nothing brings me more happiness than trying to help the most vulnerable people in society. It is a goal and an essential part of my life, a kind of destiny. Whoever is in distress can call on me. I will come running wherever they are." These heartfelt words are inscribed on the second tablet inside the temple at Althorp. It also features a moving excerpt from the eulogy delivered by Diana's brother, Charles Spencer, during her funeral at Westminster Abbey. "We give thanks for the life of a woman I am so proud to be able to call my sister, the unique, the complex, the extraordinary, and irreplaceable Diana, whose beauty, both internal and external, will never extinguish from our minds." For several years, Charles Spencer honored his sister's memory by opening a museum on the Althorp Estate. Visitors had the chance to view some of Diana's most iconic belongings, including her elegant dresses, sparkling tiaras, and cherished pieces of jewelry. Perhaps even more touching were the personal items on display, family photographs, handwritten letters, and home videos that offered an intimate glimpse into her private world. According to the Washington Post, Charles pledged to donate a significant portion of the museum's earnings to the Princess Diana Memorial Fund. Notably, one of the first consumer products to feature the official logo of the Diana, Princess of Wales Memorial Fund appeared on the lid and sides of a margarine tub. Although the museum eventually closed in 2014, Diana's legacy continues to endure. Each summer, the public can still visit Althorp Estate to reflect on the life of a woman whose compassion, elegance, and spirit touched hearts around the world. Althorp, Diana's ancestral home and final resting place, holds a rich and complex history. Let's explore the details behind this historic estate, a place of legacy, beauty, and poignant memories. Nestled in the heart of the English countryside, Althorp is a breathtaking estate located in West Northamptonshire. Spanning approximately 13,000 acres of rolling parklands and meticulously maintained gardens, it lies just 6 miles from the town of Northampton and about 75 miles from London. Positioned between the picturesque villages of Great Brington and Harlestone, the estate offers a serene escape from the fast pace of modern life. For more than 5 centuries, Althorp has been the cherished home of the noble Spencer family. Since 1992, it has been under the stewardship of Charles Spencer, the 9th Earl Spencer. It also holds deep emotional meaning for people around the world as the beloved childhood home of Lady Diana Spencer, later known to the world as Princess Diana. Althorp's roots stretch deep into English history. The estate was first documented in the Domesday Book of 1086 as Althorp. By the 1300s, it had evolved into a small village which was mysteriously abandoned around 1505. In 1508, just a few years later, the estate was purchased by John Spencer. He used the wealth his family had accumulated through sheep farming to establish a long-lasting legacy. The house as it stands today was rebuilt in 1688, replacing an earlier structure that had once hosted King Charles I. During the 18th century, Althorp became a hub of art, culture, and learning. The Spencer family assembled a remarkable collection of books and artwork. George John, the 2nd Earl Spencer, gained renown across Europe for creating one of the largest private libraries of the time. At its peak, it held more than 100,000 volumes. Sadly, financial difficulties in later years led to the sale of many of the estate's rare treasures, including significant portions of the historic library and much of its exquisite furnishings. Still, the architectural beauty of the house remains. Originally constructed as a red brick Tudor mansion, it was transformed in the late 1700s by architect Henry Holland. He introduced pale mathematical tiles and refined Corinthian pillars, giving the estate a more elegant and updated appearance. Among Althorp's highlights is Wootton Hall, a majestic entrance hall celebrated as one of the finest examples of Georgian interior design in the region. The 115-foot-long picture gallery, still adorned with its original Tudor oak woodwork, continues to house an extraordinary collection of portraits, preserving the home's artistic legacy. Following the tragic passing of Princess Diana in 1997, the woman who had lived her life under constant public scrutiny died in a high-speed car crash in Paris, reportedly while trying to evade paparazzi. She was laid to rest on a secluded island within the ornamental oval lake at Althorp, marked by a simple yet powerful Doric-style memorial temple nearby. Today, Althorp opens its gates to the public during the summer months of July and August, offering visitors a rare opportunity to experience its rich history and timeless elegance. Although the exhibition centre closed in 2013, the estate continues to be a poignant symbol of both family legacy and national memory. Let us now turn to the life of Diana herself, the princess who captured the hearts of millions around the globe. Known as the Princess of Hearts, Diana Frances Spencer was born on July 1, 1961. She would go on to become a global icon, remembered for her kindness, grace, and compassion. Though her life resembled a fairy tale, it was marked by both glittering moments and personal hardship. Her story continues to resonate long after her tragic death on August 31, 1997. Diana was born into the British aristocracy, a world steeped in grandeur and tradition. Her family, the Spencers, were closely connected to the royal household. She spent her early years at Park House, located on the Royal Sandringham estate. Even as a child, Diana displayed a warmth and empathy that made her stand out. Before becoming known to the world as a princess, Diana lived a relatively modest life. She worked as a nursery teacher's assistant and was known for her shy, gentle demeanor. Her life changed forever in 1981 when she became engaged to Prince Charles, the heir to the British throne and eldest son of Queen Elizabeth II. Their wedding, held at St. Paul's Cathedral, was a grand spectacle watched by millions around the world. It was on that day that Diana became the Princess of Wales, stepping into the global spotlight. As the wife of the future king, Diana was celebrated not only for her royal status but for her striking beauty, impeccable fashion sense, and heartfelt connection with the public. Her every appearance was followed closely by the media, and her popularity soared. The birth of her two sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, further solidified her role in the public's heart. The boys, William and Harry, were second and third in line to the throne, and Diana devoted herself wholeheartedly to their upbringing. She strived to give them as normal a childhood as possible, despite the pressures and formality of palace life. However, behind the fairy tale image, Diana's marriage was falling apart. Her relationship with Prince Charles was plagued by emotional distance and extramarital affairs on both sides. By 1992, their separation became public, and their troubled union became a frequent subject of media headlines and speculation. In 1996, the royal couple officially divorced, marking the end of what many had once believed to be a perfect match. Despite the public turmoil, Diana's popularity never declined. In fact, it only grew stronger. People admired her honesty, her vulnerability, and the dignity with which she carried herself through such a painful chapter. Following her separation from royal life, Diana began to flourish in her own right. No longer bound by strict royal protocols, she embraced her role as a humanitarian with renewed passion and dedication. Though she continued to represent the royal family in various countries on behalf of the Queen, Diana's focus turned more deeply toward causes that resonated with ordinary people, those in pain, poverty, or without a voice. Her charity work reflected her deeply compassionate nature. Diana frequently visited children in hospitals and was unafraid to connect personally with those in need. During a 1996 visit to Pakistan, she famously cradled a young cancer patient, a moment that captured hearts around the world. Initially, Diana's efforts focused on children, the elderly, and the sick, but she later took bold steps into two major global causes. One was her outspoken support for people living with HIV and AIDS. At a time when fear and stigma surrounded the illness, Diana broke social taboos by openly visiting and holding hands with AIDS patients. These actions were revolutionary for a public figure and helped shift global attitudes. The second was her passionate advocacy for banning landmines, especially in war-torn countries. She collaborated with the International Red Cross and walked through active minefields in Angola to draw global attention to the dangers civilians faced. Her courage and voice brought critical awareness to these causes. In addition, Diana worked to raise awareness around issues such as cancer, homelessness, and mental health, long before these were widely acknowledged or discussed in public forums. Tragically, her life was cut short in a devastating car crash in Paris in August 1997, as she was being pursued by paparazzi. The news sent shockwaves around the globe. Crowds gathered in mourning, flowers piled high outside royal residences, and millions around the world tuned in to say goodbye to the woman they felt they knew and loved. A police investigation known as Operation Paget later concluded that Diana's death was a result of unlawful killing, citing reckless driving and aggressive media pursuit. Her legacy continues to influence the British royal family and society as a whole. Diana opened the doors of the monarchy to emotional expression and humanitarian outreach. Her sons, William and Harry, have continued her charitable work and kept her memory alive. Diana was more than a royal, she was the people's princess. She is remembered not only for the crown she wore but for the compassion she embodied. Her legacy touched lives across the globe. Sadly, she died at the young age of 36, leaving behind her beloved sons William and Harry. Let us now explore the tragic events surrounding the night of her death, an event that shook the world to its core. In the early hours of August 31, 1997, the world was devastated by a tragedy that echoed across generations. Diana, Princess of Wales, beloved for her compassion, elegance, and humanity, lost her life in a horrific car crash inside the Pont de l'Alma tunnel in Paris, France. At just 36 years old, her vibrant life was cut short, leaving millions in mourning. Diana was not alone that night. She was accompanied by her romantic partner, Dodi Fayed, the son of Egyptian billionaire Mohammed Al Fayed. The two were passengers in a luxurious Mercedes-Benz W140, driven by Henri Paul, the deputy head of security at the Hotel Ritz in Paris. Seated in the front was Trevor Rees-Jones, Dodi's bodyguard. As they tried to flee a horde of paparazzi stationed outside the hotel, the car sped away into the Paris night, a desperate escape that would become their final journey. Moments later, inside the tunnel, the vehicle lost control and crashed into a concrete pillar at high speed. The impact was catastrophic. Dodi Fayed and Henri Paul died instantly. Diana was still alive when emergency responders arrived at the scene but succumbed to her injuries hours later at the hospital. Trevor Rees-Jones was the only survivor, though he sustained severe injuries and retained no memory of the crash. Initially, it was believed that Rees-Jones survived because he had been wearing a seatbelt. However, further investigations revealed that none of the passengers had their seatbelts fastened that night. The world came to a standstill. As dawn broke and the tragic news spread, grief swept across nations. The loss of the people's princess, a woman loved for her humanitarian spirit, elegance, and empathy, left a deep void in the hearts of millions. Vigils were held throughout the United Kingdom. Outside Kensington Palace, mourners laid countless bouquets of flowers. Diana's funeral, held days later, was watched by an estimated 2.5 billion people worldwide, a solemn and unified moment of sorrow. In the aftermath of the crash, questions and suspicions swirled. In 1999, French authorities concluded that the crash was caused by Henri Paul's reckless driving. According to their findings, Paul was under the influence of a large amount of alcohol and had prescription drugs in his system, medications that likely worsened his state of impairment. Surveillance footage also showed him taunting paparazzi before the group left the Ritz Hotel. He had taken antidepressants and there were traces of antipsychotic drugs in his blood. These details painted a tragic picture of a man unfit to drive, let alone navigate the streets of Paris at high speed, with 3 lives in his care. Nearly a decade later, in 2008, a British inquest known as Operation Paget delivered its own verdict. The jury ruled that Diana and Dodi had been unlawfully killed due to grossly negligent driving by Henri Paul. British police stated they were reviewing new information about the deaths of Princess Diana and Dodi Al Fayed, who were killed in the Paris road crash, and the dangerous pursuit by several paparazzi on motorcycles. These photographers, in their relentless effort to capture exclusive images of Diana and Dodi, were found to have played a role in the tragedy. It wasn't just a fatal accident, it was a collision fueled by celebrity obsession and media recklessness. Even years later, the pain of that night still lingers. Conspiracy theories, debates, and alternative explanations continue to surround the event. But the core tragedy remains unchanged. A mother of 2, a humanitarian, a beacon of kindness, lost her life while simply trying to live it. Her sons, Princes William and Harry, were just 15 and 12 at the time. Their grief was shared by the world. Princess Diana's death was more than the loss of royalty, it was the loss of a global symbol of empathy and strength. Her legacy lives on in countless ways, through the charities she supported, the causes she championed, and the many lives she touched with her sincerity. The night of August 31, 1997, was a dark chapter in modern history, but it also marked the beginning of Diana's eternal legacy, one of love, hope, and a lasting reminder that kindness can change the world. Flooding at Althorp House. Sometimes in early 2024, Diana's estate was flooded, taking on the appearance of a water park. Let's delve into the details of the flooding that occurred at Althorp. It's not every day that you see a grand historic estate transformed by nature, but that's exactly what happened at Althorp House, the family home of Charles Spencer, the 9th Earl Spencer and younger brother of the late Princess Diana. On a recent Wednesday, Charles took to social media to share something unexpected and rather dramatic. The elegant lawns of his sprawling Northamptonshire estate had been overtaken by floodwater. Charles Spencer, a respected author and historian, grew up on the estate alongside his beloved sister, Princess Diana. Althorp House has been in the Spencer family for centuries, standing as a symbol of British heritage and aristocracy. When Charles's father, John Spencer, passed away in 1992, Charles inherited the title of Earl and the responsibility of maintaining the estate. Since then, he has served as the custodian of this magnificent property. But even for someone so deeply connected to the estate, the scene he witnessed was unlike anything he had seen before. In one striking photo shared to his Instagram stories, the front lawn of Althorp had transformed into a shallow lake, completely submerged under inches of water. The once green, manicured garden looked more suited to ducks than afternoon tea. With his typical dry wit, Charles captioned the image, "The front lawn at Althorp looking a little soggy." It was a humorous understatement for a scene that appeared quite dramatic. Yet, it also showcased his ability to take such unexpected events in stride, even when nature delivered an especially wet surprise. The relentless rain hadn't just soaked the grass, it altered the tranquil character of the estate. Charles wasn't the only one documenting the unusual weather. On X, formerly Twitter, he also shared photos taken by the estate's conservation manager a day earlier. In his post, he wrote, "As wet as I've ever seen it at Althorp House today." That single sentence made it clear, this was no ordinary rainy day in the English countryside. For those who follow Charles online, it's common to see him share snapshots of life at Althorp, peaceful scenes, historical anecdotes, and glimpses of restoration projects. But this time, the photos felt different. The flooded lawn served as a powerful reminder of nature's unpredictability, even in a place as steeped in tradition and history as Althorp. Althorp itself is no small property. With over 13,000 acres of land, it includes the Grand Mansion, gardens, lakes, woodlands, and farmland. The house, with its stunning Georgian architecture, holds hundreds of years of stories, from royal visits to family celebrations, and, of course, the enduring legacy of Princess Diana. It is also her final resting place, located on a small island in the round oval lake within the grounds. This sudden flooding likely stirred not just concern but reflection. Seeing water rise so dramatically over sacred, historic land brings home how fragile even the most timeless places can be. It also highlights a growing concern across the UK, the increasing frequency of unusual and extreme weather events. While the Spencer estate may weather this storm, not all places are so fortunate. Still, Charles Spencer's reaction remained calm, witty, and grounded. By sharing the images with a touch of humor and humility, he reminded us that even those with noble titles are not immune to nature's whims. There's something deeply human, comforting, even, about seeing someone of his stature take a soggy front lawn with a chuckle. Fans of the Earl responded to his posts with sympathy and curiosity. Many expressed surprise at the extent of the flooding. Some commented on the beauty of the reflections in the water, while others voiced concern about the estate's grounds and wildlife. But all were united in their fascination at this rare glimpse of Althorp underwater. It remains to be seen how long it will take for the lawns to dry out and regain their usual emerald hue. But if history has proven anything, it's that Althorp, and the Spencer family, are resilient. After all, when you've stood for over 500 years, a little water is just another chapter in your story. Your thoughts? What do you think about Princess Diana's death and her grave at Althorp? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.